Welcome to Creatives Grab Coffee, the podcast on the business of video production.
Creatives Grab Coffee is hosted by Dario Nuri and Kirill Lazarov from Labs Productions. Our goal is to share knowledge and experiences from video production professionals around the world. Whether you're a freelancer looking to start your own business or a seasoned business owner aiming to scale your company, this is the show for you.
Join us as we develop a community of like-minded creatives looking to learn and help each other grow. Welcome to the business of video production. Welcome to Creatives Grab Coffee.
Before we get started with the show, let's go over today's sponsors.
Do you have a shoot in Toronto? Do you need crew or a strong production partner to help you with your project? Labs Productions is one of the top production companies in Toronto and your go-to video partner.
With our strong creative skills and extensive network, we can help you achieve your goal. Labs Productions is able to offer you production services, white label services, or finder fees for project handoffs.
Reach out to us on our website at labsproductions.com to learn more.
My name is Miran. Welcome to Canada Film Equipment. We are a boutique rental house based in Toronto. We are here to help you guys out with all production sizes. Feel free to contact us to get a quote if you are a production house and you're looking for lighting, camera packages, or lighting and group fan packages. You can see our contact information in the link below. We are more than happy to help you guys out. Make sure you follow and subscribe to creativesgrabcoffee.com. Thank you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Matt. Welcome to Audio Process. We are a boutique audio company doing location sound, sound design, post-sound, ADR, Foley. We service equipment. We do all your audio needs here in Toronto. We got you covered. Come on down, audioprocess.ca. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and all of the other internet things to creativesgrabcoffee.com. They'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for you, and we're all going to have a real good time.
And now, let's begin the show. Anyways, just to kind of get the episode rolling, today we have Edward Holub from New Orleans Video Productions, and as you can guess it, he's based out of New Orleans. Welcome to the show, Edward.
We need to get a shirt as well, Kirill. We don't have any Labs shirts.
I know. Especially ones like that, just so we can do that, right?
Swag is a good thing, hand it out to your crew, hand it out to clients, whenever you can.
We have hats and mugs. That's all we have at the moment. We haven't
given them out to anyone.
mugs we have, but not the hats. The hats.
We still have a case of those mugs somewhere. Oh, actually, I don't even know where they are. Are they in the storage locker?
They're probably in the storage locker. We've given away half of them, but anyways,
I try to shirt people. At least they'd say crew on it, especially if we go into crowds. So they know who's on our crew. Because sometimes you can't just get labels, but if you've got the big shirt, the video camera on it, and you're in a venue, they're like, oh, okay, I know who you are. It's like, I don't have this stinking badge, man.
Just big word that says crew. I've heard funny things where people have said that you could walk into any venue with a tripod and people will think that you meant to be there, even if you have nothing.
Not even tripod, just dress in all black. That's usually like the uniform for like crew is all black.
It's true. And then, the shirts help. They get you in. And, sometimes, when you got people come in at weird hours, they wear a shirt.
Once upon a time, I think it was about 11 years ago, Dario and I, we weren't even doing a video production company at this point, but we were working on some internet show, and it was at Veld Music Festival. We were just interviewing people outside the venue. And then at one point, close to the end of the event, with our cameras, we just walked through the front gates. Nobody said anything, and we got to see Deadmau5 live. Do you remember that, Dario?
I remember going like, Kirill, Deadmau5 is playing. I was really into Deadmau5 at the time. I was like, we gotta go. We gotta try it. I just want to.
And we did. We just walked through. Nobody cared. It was all good. So that theory does work. I don't know how much now, but 11 years ago it worked.
Okay. How does this exactly work? We're recording now. This is our bit. This is our show.
Oh yeah.
It's already started.
The episode's already begun.
Well, then let's make it a show. Let's actually, have an agenda, go through things really poignantly, because I hate going through these kind of things where people just jabber mindlessly. Let's try to stay on an agenda that people might be interested in hearing.
For sure. So one thing we usually start with is a little bit of a background, typically, of our guests. So Edward, tell us a little bit about yourself and New Orleans video productions.
Yeah, I've been at it my whole life. You know, my dad was a photographer. I was a still photographer in New York before I moved to film and video. I shot a independent movie in New York, and then I started. Ever since then, I've been doing video mostly. And I live in New Orleans now, so I do New Orleans productions mostly. We do added productions from other companies around the world, a lot from London, New York, and LA, and we do their bidding when they come here locally. That's kind of
from London, huh?
yeah, we get a lot from London for some reason.
What kind of projects do you get from them usually?
A whole range of stuff, you know, anything from just some commercial stuff, interview B-roll, you know, cover some plant, or a star comes by and they want to do a junket, you know. Depends. There's a range.
A junket? What's that?
That's just when like the actors come and they got to market the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's all virtual. We set up a couple of cameras all virtually. So when a journalist from Germany, say, comes into the chat, they get a real picture. So when they record their chat, they can use it as media. So that then the actors do their bit, you know, and they just go from journalist to journalist in the same location, because, you know, they got good sound, good audio, good sound, good picture. Sometimes a teleprompter, so they can do all the hits they have to do.
Nice. So what are like some of the more some of your favorite projects that have kind of come through from internationally?
Oh, well, I've been doing a lot of music. For some reason, New Orleans, or me, I don't know. I just been doing a lot of music. Either multi-camera record, usually multi-camera recording. So I hooked up with this one company that we go to London a lot. We're going to London next week on a shoot. And that's going to be a 5-area camera inside a tiny studio. So that's going to be a challenge. But yeah, they have a decent budget. But it's the same thing. We're just recording a band as they write music and record it, and then shoot their interviews, that kind of thing. But it's you either do that or just live production, you know, with actual shows, and shoot those multi-camera.
How long you been running your business?
Since 2002. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, even before that, when I was doing still. But a lot of what we get here is really just interview B-roll, you know. You have to go somewhere, film somebody talking about something or themselves or whatever, and then a little B-roll to either describe that person or we go out into, you know, shooting the world. B-roll's a big wide gambit of things it could be. It could either be just the interview room, or we could actually go to, you know, the Gulf of Mexico in a helicopter. You know, it depends. You know,
But obviously I'd love
You were in
to-
a helicopter
Yeah.
for some shoots?
yeah, a couple times. Yeah,
Okay.
because we're in the Gulf of Mexico, so we work for the oil companies once in a while, and they've got all the oil rigs for the, you know, the deep wells. So sometimes we have to go out there, or we go to their offices where they've got these it's like command centers, you know, where they're on the phone and virtually talking to all the oil wells around, you know, the Gulf. So
That sounds like a cool shoot. Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty intense.
Like, who needs
Nice.
drones when you have helicopters, right?
Well, you know, if you're going to go out to a deep well, it's about, you know, a mile off the shore, maybe more. You know, it's hard to get there. It'd take a boat like half a day to get out there, and if the seas are kind of rough, you know, it's easier to fly in.
How long would it take to fly in?
Well, it's only a mile, so
Oh, okay.
not that
yeah,
long.
Dario, it's like 2 seconds.
Yeah, but
Helicopters are fast.
He said the boat would take like half a day, so I
Yeah, it
didn't know
takes
how long it would.
yeah, it takes the boat a half a day because it's got to come out of port. It's got to go, you know, through channels and,
Oh,
and
okay,
get all the way out there. And then, you know, getting on and off boats isn't easy, especially when you're out that far in the Gulf. You know, it's hard to get off the boat. And if you want to get onto a platform, that's a challenge. But you could just fly in and land right on the platform. So it's a lot faster.
Interesting.
So is that like most of like a lot of like the clients that you have locally in New Orleans? A lot of you said oil companies. Is that like predominantly the industry there?
That's a big chunk of the industry. That and shipping. Yeah, we do a lot for shipping, and not anything to deal with the Gulf. I mean, we just did a conference. We did a series of interviews for Wind TV, Wind, because now
Wind.
yes, because I don't know if you know, there was a huge new appropriation for windmills across the world, and Louisiana has a huge amount of oil platforms that are empty, so it's a perfect spot to put a wind generator. So there's a huge amount of business in wind. So we shot some interviews at a convention for that just
Interesting.
a couple weeks ago. Well, yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Tell us a bit about your company. Like how big is it? Like how many employees do you have?
Oh, it's like a Mission Impossible, you know. Here's your job. Here's your mission, Mr. Ed, if you choose to accept it.
There's like three of you then. Simon Pegg and the other guy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Who do I call in for my gaffer? Wait, how big of a show is it? Okay, you know, so you write up the crew and the equipment based on the job. You know, it could be anything from me and an assistant to, you know, 15, 20 people or 100 people even. This the one at the end of the month's probably over 100.
So is it like
wow.
do you? So it sounds like you're pretty skeletal. Is it just you and then you just crew up based on the project, or do you have any people that are in house?
No, I've got people, regular freelancers, but you know, if we're not working, they're free. You know, they can get other gigs. You know, there's not so much work in New Orleans that it's every day. You know, it's a strange market that way.
So you know you've been running your business since 2002, and it's still just you, and then you crew up based on the project. Carol and I have gone back and forth many times, like in terms of like how we would like to scale our business in terms of employees and everything. And our approach would be maybe very skeletal or maybe even like you. So I'm just wondering,
Yeah, I mean,
you've been running your business for 20 years. Like, was there ever a point where you're like, I need to bring people on? And then it seems like you didn't. So
I've got
what
regulars.
happened along the way that made you made you go down this way?
You've got your regulars, but you know, you want regulars that are working a lot and are really good at what they do. So, and you don't want to tie them up. Bless you. You don't want to tie them up if you're not working. I mean, right? You get a really good, you know, second or a producer that really knows his shit. Why hire him full time and he's just going to sit around and do nothing?
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to like that, and like you're going to have to pay him for that. I'd rather pay him his day rate for a job. He comes in, does my job, and he goes off and does another job. But you know, I've got a regular kind of, I guess, a stable of people that I use on a regular basis. But we're all freelancers. We're all in the film business, you know. I mean, I'm a DP. I get hired as a DP, sometimes DP producer, or a cameraman sometimes. On the right assignment, I'll just come in and run a camera. So we're in the film business. You know, we have our LLC so we can expand. You know, I mean, even if you come in as a DP on a smaller job, you've got you've got at least one other camera operator. Maybe you've got a Steadicam or a crane and a couple of assistants. That all comes under your production company, because you know when we're charging a production, you're charging for all that together. All of your people aren't billing the production company; they're billing you. So that you have to scale depending on what the job is. It depends on like what kind of work you get. And I'm a generalist. I'll do anything. You know, you got the dime, I got the time. You know.
I like that. Yeah, that's pretty much how it's been with us as well for the last few years. Like the reason we're asking, because we know a lot of companies, like we've interviewed a lot of people on this show who have had such ranging sizes of businesses. Most of them pretty much in the same boat as you and us, but there are some that have small teams of like 3 to 5 like core members that are focusing on a lot of specific things. Like for example, having an editor full time is one of the most common first hires that a lot of people in our industry get, because one of the biggest needs that we do have as a business is needing constant editing, right?
Yeah,
But
that's true.
like, did you ever feel like Did you ever feel like you had maybe at least enough work coming through for like a year or two where you felt like, okay, it might actually be more efficient to bring on someone full time? Or did you feel like you always knew that you just wanted to keep it as skeletal as possible?
Well, I mean, part of it is where we live in Louisiana. There are seasons. You know, when the summer comes, it's pretty much dead. So there's no point even being here, you know, because it gets so hot. It's hard to even work. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, the conventions go away. It becomes really dry for a couple of months.
Wow.
And then
Is that common with a lot of other companies in your
Yeah.
industry there? Like it's
Yeah.
like everyone's pretty small scale and then like just dead season in summer all around.
Yeah, when we have since we have dead seasons, and since the state really screwed up our tax credits, it's hard to stay consistent. Everything is very freelance for the entire industry, really. So some people just join together. You know, it's like if you have a friend that's also in the business that maybe does audio or edits, or you know, likes to talk to people on the phone, and you can hang out and stay together. I mean, you're not going to charge each other, you know, when there's dead time. So maybe you can work together to get some gigs, but it doesn't even really work that way because the amount of work the kind of work that comes in is just so varied. You know, you don't know if you partner with a guy that's doing, say, motion graphics, you might get 5 jobs in a row that don't even have motion graphics. Then, you know, if you partner with somebody, I mean, it's not really a good relationship, you know. It's better to make sure that the people that you partner with, you bring in for the job, and you know, it's serious when you're working. But we're all freelance. I mean, you know, and when if you get picked up on a movie, you know, then you're gone for a couple of months or a couple of weeks or whatever it is. But that's kind of the lay of the land here. It's kind of odd.
You mentioned that the tax credit system there kind of screwed you guys up in your industry. Can you just say something a little bit
Elaborate on
about that? Elaborate a bit more because we're not sure how
Yeah, let's
how
write
that
that.
works.
Write that on the screen somewhere. Can you add some graphics? Put up Louisiana tax credits for film. You know, it's a big thing. Louisiana was one of the first states that started it. They called it runaway production back then, 2004, 2005. Runaway production from L.A. And it was a horrible thing for L.A. But what it boiled down to is there were a couple of thieves in New Orleans that figured out they could get a bank to bank some of their movies if they could get the state of Louisiana to pay for part of it. So they did. So they developed a sort of scheme for themselves so that they could get 40% of their films paid for by the state. So they started out as the Louisiana Institute of Film Technology. It was supposed to be a school. And so they got the state to pay, you know, a percentage. And that turned into a tax incentive for productions to come to Louisiana to shoot so they could get a percentage of their budget paid by the state. So it was all started by this big scam for a couple of guys.
Okay.
And everybody who started it is either in jail or dead.
When was this?
Early 2000s. But
wow.
Now when you say, oh, what's the tax credit situation? Oh, yeah, of course there's a tax credit situation. You know, they're all over the country. But it was started by a couple of criminals who had a guy in L.A. who was also a mobster, like a Russian mobster, who wanted to launder some of his money and also get a tax credit back. That's how it all started.
This is a movie idea right here.
This is a movie idea.
The casino before casino.
Yeah, I was thinking of it. Kind of is. I mean, the stories are crazy. Like this one guy stole $1 million from his partner because his wife was sleeping with his partner, and he got screwed out of his producer fee or the you know, when you get a tax credit, you have to sell the tax credit, so there's a commission involved. And if it's a $10 million movie and that's 40%, that's $4 million. And if you want 5% of that, That's what
That's like 300,000-400,000 maybe.
$300,000 or $400,000. Yeah, you want your $300,000 or $400,000 because you brought another movie in, and the tax credit, you sold the tax credit. You want your share. So his wife was sleeping with his partner. His partner screwed him out of the $300,000. So the guy went to the bank account and stole $1 million.
Oh my! This is literally like the video production version of Casino.
Casino, yeah.
Yeah, I think it should be called Dirty Money or something like that.
That name's too common. Dirty Video.
No, Dirty Video sounds like a dirty movie though.
Yeah, but that's kind of it. It's dirty, dirty money. Just dirty money.
Oh my God!
But
This would only work. This would only work well as a movie. As a documentary, no one's gonna watch it.
No, it can't work as a documentary. It's just a bunch of people talking about it, blah 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 blah, and you're like, wow, really.
Yeah.
But if you see them like doing these things, like the guy who took the $1 million blew it all on hookers and cocaine.
Bro, this is Jonah. I can see Jonah Hill being that guy.
Jonah Hill in this role would
Jonah
be
Hill as that role.
Yeah. Oh my God.
De Niro's got to be there somewhere. He's the guy that started it.
Yeah, definitely. De Niro could kind of be Malcolm Peddle, but Malcolm had a lazy eye, and he's the guy who screwed over John. And Malcolm, how do you say this? Had a child with one of his prostitutes.
Oh my God. It just gets better and better. Like this story is just like, and you were around at the time because you were in the industry too. So you must have been like seeing a lot of this.
All this and like,
and how common is like, does everyone in Louisiana in the industry know about this, or is it just like?
Oh yeah, it's common knowledge. Yeah, it's just, the politicians want to dumb it down. Mark Smith was this really tall black dude, and he, for a while, you couldn't get a movie made unless you paid him.
Wow. Okay.
It really is like the mafia, like it was the mafia back then. Jeez.
But I mean, yeah, it was Imperial Bank out of L.A., which was really a front for the Russian mobsters that had some nightclubs in L.A. That's where they were getting the source of their money to make their movies. It was basically money laundering in general. And when the Russians were like, no, you got to give us something, we can't just blow it all. So they came up with this. So they came up with this scheme of like, well, we'll get 50% from the state. It's like, well, that's something. I'll take it.
Okay.
And
Wow.
some of the movies made some money, but most of them were just shite. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they did. They
wasn't
weren't
meant to
being
be
made
making
for the
good
art.
movies.
Yeah.
It wasn't about making the movies. It was about moving the money.
It's like that movie, The Producers.
Yeah.
They just had to make a movie, and it needed to bomb for them to make their money back.
Yeah. It's kind of like that, except they didn't want anything to bomb. But in the meantime, there was another film called Bullet Films opened up in Lafayette, and they were sort of a legit movie. And they came up with Sharknado.
Okay.
Oh,
So Sharknado was filmed in Louisiana. It's a big hit out from Louisiana.
it was one of those movies that like it had such a weird concept that it got like a cult following. Dario, do you know about Sharknado?
Yeah.
I never watched it myself, but I saw the trailer, and I remember my reaction at the time.
I know a tornado with sharks in it. It is
I was like,
incredible.
what the fuck is this? Like,
They made like 3 sequels after that, but now I'm wondering, was that all money laundering?
people love shark movies, man.
Well, Bullet
The
was
Meg?
they were making movies for Sci-Fi Channel.
Ah, okay.
So they were all these low budget, quickies. And that was turn of the 2000s, or 2000 to 2020, before, everything really went. It was still cable world back then. So they were making sort of made-for-TV cable movies that were sort of horror-ish. But then they had to transit when things started moving towards streaming. So they had to come up with better movies, or try. They got lucky with that one.
So after that entire ordeal, like how did that affect the
Wait.
the
I
industry?
wanna know, like, how did it stop? Like, it clearly stopped.
That's
right?
kind
How
of
did
what
they-
I'm getting to, yeah.
People went to jail and they died. And,
Yeah, we already got that, Dario.
But what happened?
No, but like, how did they? I wanted to hear how they got caught bit.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, Mayor Nagin the mayor of New Orleans did time, and when he
Oh
went
my
down,
God.
They
when
all
he-
went down.
right when he went down, he took some people with him.
It's like
they
Sammy the Bull.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
This is like Wolf of Wall Street and The Disaster Artist combined. That's what this movie story is,
Oh, God.
essentially.
and it's all
And
set,
Casino.
It's all
And
set,
Casino.
And the beauty of it is it's all set post Katrina, so the city's wiped out, and these criminals are running around, doing tax credits and negotiating, 85% of these tax credits so that they could get a 5%, profit. And these guys are running around while the city's a mess, and they're trying to get movies made when, we still didn't have streets. Like there was
wow.
Hurricane Sandy
Yeah.
in New York. The subways were filled. The next day, the subways were running. In Louisiana, there was a hurricane. We lost a major bridge for 2 years. So the city of New Orleans was separated from the state for 2 years. And during those 2 years, nothing happened. You couldn't get big trucks through. So the city
wow.
was just still destroyed, and it was a wreck. And we still had the tax credits. So people would fly in and make some movies here and there.
So how did that whole ordeal kind of affect the industry and also you personally with your business? Because obviously after that, everyone was probably very hesitant about what projects were being made within New Orleans and Louisiana.
Yeah, the other part about it is Louisiana's a bunch of yahoos. It's very provincial, especially before the tax credits. There wasn't very much production. I came from New York, and I was used to production. I did a lot of commercials, and still commercials. But I knew the industry. I knew how things worked. But it just didn't work down here. People were just very, thick Louisiana draw, like not really being professional in a production environment, not being able to follow the chain of command properly, and that kind of haunted the city for years. And eventually, more film workers started moving to Louisiana or New Orleans, and now they're kind of here. So there's about three layers of good crew that live here, but a lot of them came here. They weren't here back in 2004, describing 2004, what the environment was like. So the tax credits created an industry, but it really only created an industry for technicians. If you were a budding first AC, it would be fucking beautiful for you, in 2005. You're like, I'm a budding first AC. I can load everybody's camera. I can clap all day, or I can hold focus all day. When if you want to come in and if you want to enter the industry, I'll just clap all day. So if you're a clapper, if you're a loader, if you're first AC, if you're a grip, or a rigger, an assistant, anybody, like all the departments needed assistants. All those people were getting jobs, but if you're really in the industry and you're a DP, it didn't matter for shit. Because, you're not going to get a DP gig from a Hollywood movie rolling into town. By the time it rolls into town, it's got all the above the line set, and most of the keys are set. So you're not going to get anything plumb. So
what made you move down there? Because you're mentioning a lot of things that made it sound like it was very difficult to make it there. So, and you were already in New York.
Yeah.
Sounding like you were doing pretty well there. What moved you to New Orleans?
It was just my personal life, I lived in New Orleans, I lived in New York, then I moved to Vienna. I lived in Vienna, Austria for a couple of years.
Oh.
And I had a baby, and we moved, then I got a film to shoot in New Orleans, so I came down to do that. And then when that was done, I was still down here. And my wife at the time wanted to stay in America. I didn't want to go back to Vienna. We were still in New Orleans. We didn't go. We were only here for a year or so. Then Katrina hit, and she went to Florida with my kid. So I got into a custody battle with her for 5 years. So I had to kind of stay.
Oh, wow.
That's why I was here, just to try to have some relationship with my daughter when my ex-wife was being an ex-wife.
The most amazing and politically correct answer you could give about describe the situation. My ex-wife is being an ex-wife.
It was the pause before he said that.
Trying to do, yeah, that's the writer in me trying to figure out the way to phrase that.
It was
We all understood.
It was
We all
beautiful. It was
understood.
beautiful. It's exactly what you have to say on a podcast show like this, so nothing gets used against you.
So
Like-
on one side it was exciting, you know, the industry's moving here, the film industry. So, oh well, you know, I can move out of commercial, move into feature. It's like, no, you're not going to move into shit, you know, because forget it. These jobs are set. You know, people have been, you know, working for generations to get some of these jobs. You're not going to just walk in because they happen to be filming something down the block. So that's the frustration side of it. And unless you're, I mean, I was never, you know, I was beyond 18 when this all started. If I had been 18 at the time, it might have been different. I could have worked my way in, you know, as a, you know, PA. I could have worked my way up. But, you know, after having been in the industry that long, I wasn't ready to just, you know, start, you know, I wasn't going to clap for somebody. I wasn't going to, you know, just carry shit around. It's like, that's not what I do. So, you know, I still did some jobs. And there was a time when I realized I could market myself better. So that's how you guys found me, probably through my website.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Yeah.
was about 5-6 years ago. I really put some energy into trying to figure out how to build a website that would be effective. And it's been pretty effective. So, but it's a niche thing, you know, and I only get I get the work that I get because of the marketing and the way a website works. So that describes why, you know, I'm a generalist, because, you know, people are looking for video production that could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
so I have to be prepared to do anything. And
Especially
so-
in a tough industry like that in New Orleans, like if you're able to find work that's coming in, whatever it might be, you want to try to serve it, right? You know, like whenever leads are coming through the front door, you're trying your best to sign them, because work is work, right? You
Yeah.
never know when it can be dry, and especially when you know that summer is dry in New Orleans, you got to try to fill up as much as you can just before that dry season starts, right?
Yeah, that's it. You know, you know your prime seasons. You want to get the most out of your prime seasons, but then you need to adjust or go somewhere else. But you know, I haven't been able to. I had my kid that I was battling keep, and then I got remarried, and my current wife, she had a couple of kids too. So we were raising children, and we're kind of stuck in this New Orleans area for the custody reasons. So we stayed here through all that. And yeah, I got to witness the film industry sort of implode around me.
I gotta say, you sorry, go.
Yeah, okay. So we already covered like the criminal aspect of it. We hadn't even discussed the political aspect of it.
Okay, I want
because
to hear this.
Beyond the criminal side of it, there was a whole other layer of politics involved. Because as everybody should know, Louisiana is one of the reddest states in the Union. Most everybody in the outskirts of Louisiana will listen to any kind of conspiracy story, anti-government story you have. And they're all kind of way older white men that have their own sense of delusions about the successes they've had in their life. And that they talk a lot, and they bullshit everybody, talk down to people all the time, drag them into the corner, won't admit to anything, carry guns, and are willing to use them, as opposed to some of the other politicians that are very similar in personality types. So the average personality type of the average Louisianan is a white male with delusions of grandeur, heavy failure in his life, and filled with conspiracy theories, because they're all narcissists who, of course, believe it was none of their fault. It was somebody else's fault, and they needed somebody to go get them. So that's the average Louisiana citizen. And then you get to New Orleans. which is not in Louisiana. It's the most northern city in the Caribbean. And
In the Caribbean.
it's a Caribbean city. Over half the
Okay.
population's black.
Okay.
So the entire culture is it's like a black culture, really, and it's got strata. So, you've got the colonialists on top, the rich white people that have been here for centuries. They still kind of rule things, the white elite. But then the culture itself is really very African American, and it's got its roots from Haiti and from throughout the Caribbean, and the free people of color that came here. So that's sort of the history. But politically, New Orleans is a very different entity than the state of Louisiana. So it's like an enclave that's surrounded by a wall, and when you go outside the wall, they're all a certain politician. They look exactly like the politician. They sound like him. So it's a red state, but it's got this blue core in New Orleans. So
Interesting.
That's the political makeup of the state. Unfortunately for the rest of the state, 80% of their tax income comes from New Orleans. So everybody in the state of Louisiana has a hate relationship with New Orleans. They think they're all, the first are racist, so they hate New Orleans. Second, they're extremely Republican, so they hate New Orleans. They hate the arts, hate anything to do with any kind of creativity, so they hate New Orleans. So the rest of the state has this hate relationship with New Orleans, but they love the money they get. So that's the politics involved with the state. So
Y'all got some drama down there, Jesus.
yeah. Southern
And-
Gothic. Yeah. So understanding that backdrop of the history and the politics, when you get into the film industry politics, it gets very specific. When you go to northern Louisiana and a county called Bunkie, the senators from Bunkie feel like they're getting gypped because all this tax credit money is going to the movie industry, and nobody wants to go up to East Buttfuck to film. I mean Bunkie to film.
Now we know what you really think of that area.
So the Bunkites on the fringes of the state have found a coalition with all the other Yahoo people of that sort of political ilk who joined together for the political purpose of attacking New Orleans. So they were able to castrate the tax credit for a couple of years. They put a cap on the tax credit, which
Wow.
which is the worst possible thing you could do. It's like a cap means, okay, we're only going to spend $250 million on films this year. We don't know when it's going to stop. We don't know whose film is going to be the one that we can't fund. But once we hit 250 million, we're done. So the entire industry said, I don't want to be that one. Fuck you. They all went
So
to
it was
Atlanta.
It was like a first come, first serve type industry there, or at least it is like that now, right?
And the way the tax credits are handed out, you have to spend the money before you get the tax credit.
Oh, that's that's very risky. Yeah. So it's like,
Yeah.
how do you know you're going to be the one that gets lucky enough to get some of the tax credits? And then, yeah, at that point, like you have to spend it, like these companies have to spend the money in a way that they can cover it if the tax credits don't come through. So it's almost like it's just there to help a little bit, but it's not really helping elevate past the resources that you have. So yeah, that really does put a hamper on like producers and production companies in terms of what they can really produce down there. Wow.
And it came at the worst possible time because in that year, New Orleans or in Louisiana in general was getting the lion's share of runaway production. There was two movies a month being shot here for a long time, for a year and a half. And it was right at the point where people had to start building studios. But to build a studio infrastructure is millions of dollars. And when
A lot of money.
the primary industry here is shipping. And so the shipping industry really didn't want to have anything to do with it, you know. And if for these huge complexes that you need to build for a studio, they would prefer to have that space for, you know, cargo. So it was hard to find Louisiana investment because it wasn't, there was no motivation. But that was starting to change because the amount of work that was coming in. And when they changed the tax credit situation, suddenly within a year, 80% of the work went to Atlanta. And Tyler Perry like bought big. He bought 3 studios in Atlanta, and Atlanta took off. And that's because these idiots up in Bunkie like destroyed the industry in Louisiana. And they did for years. It took about 2 or 3 years to repeal those laws. But by that time, you know, we were lower on the list of states where people wanted to produce movies because we didn't have the studio structure. Right at the point that that investment needed to happen, the industry went away, and that investment still hasn't happened. Still in New Orleans, there's about 3 or 4 studios, period. You know, there's not much real studio space at all.
Man, that industry, honestly, like what that happened there has really kind of really put a hamper on Louisiana and New Orleans. And honestly, like definitely one of the more interesting stories you've shared on this show in terms of like what has happened on the industry. Like most of the time we've just gotten, yeah, you know, these are the companies we work with and the industries that we work with, yada yada. But you're like, oh, I got a story for you guys. And I know we could probably go a little bit more, but like we do unfortunately have a hard cut.
No, I asked them if we could do a little later.
Oh, okay, so we're good.
Let's end on a positive note.
Yeah,
because we have another 15. We have another 15 minutes. So let's end on a positive note. So now you've been running your business for all these years, and you know you've seen, you know, your state go up and down and whatnot. I'm just wondering for you, what are some next steps? Because I mean, like you've been in this for like decades, basically.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess I've got 3 areas that I'm concentrating on now. First, since my kids are no longer a dependent. And I probably won't sell my house, but I can move. I can leave the area, which is huge. I haven't been able to do that before, so it's a change in philosophy. So with that comes marketing. You know, it was about 5-6 years ago I came up with this brilliant marketing plan that's carried me through so far. So now my next stage is to develop a new marketing campaign using AI, so that because 5 years ago I thought, well, what if I did this? What if I did that? And then I ran into these things like, well, you have to hire a marketing person for $150,000 a year. It's like, no, I don't think so. So, you know, now you can create a marketing scheme, whatever your mind can come up with, and use AI to implement it. And you don't have to hire all these marketers. So I can take some of the same techniques I used to create the first business and expand to reach the kind of work that I prefer doing. So I don't have to be a generalist. So looking forward, I want to get out of the generalism. I want to get out of the area and, you know, move up internationally. So I'm writing scripts, and I'm trying to figure out how to get my marketing together so I can get more of the kind of work that I prefer doing, is what it boils down to.
What type of work are you aiming to go for?
DP director. You know, either I'll help make the picture or I'll make the whole movie. You know?
Oh, specifically in the movie industry itself, rather than like corporate videos or things like that. Is that kind of what you're...
Yeah, I'm so tired of corporate video and the whole corporate world. I mean, it's not gratifying, you know. It's like it's just another job, you know. I don't, as far as for me to put the energy into marketing, I think using AI I can turn around my whole business plan. Instead of saying, well, I'm just going to get whatever work I can, I can target my pushes so that I can really look for the projects that I want. And, you know, you can't, the whole thing about, well, all this work came to Louisiana, why didn't you pick it up? It's like, it's not here. The work might be in, you know, Japan, or it might be in Canada. You don't know where you're going to get the work. You have to target your marketing so that wherever they are, you can find them, or that you can hook up with them, and you can use the internet for that, to find the right people that want to work, that you're a good fit with, where you're headed creatively and professionally. So
Yeah, a lot of states and even some provinces in Canada are just destination places where if there's a movie or TV series being shot there, it's not based there. So if you want to get involved in that, you have to go to other states and other cities that are very popular. Like in Canada, Vancouver and Toronto are the two most popular destinations for a lot of these TV shows and movies, but a lot of them are also based in the US because it's a lot cheaper to shoot in Canada than in the US. So if you want to get involved in those productions, you got to figure out a way to work with them in the States first to come back to Canada, really.
yeah, and internationally, there's a lot of work in Europe, and I love Europe. I lived in Vienna, so I'd go back to all kinds of parts of Europe to work. So, like this one Indian producer that we're working on this series concept, we're also going to shoot that in Germany. So I'll be happy to go back to Germany, and if I hook up with another producer when I'm there, I'm great. I'll stay in Germany. Know that I don't have to raise kids and be there for that. I can go back to having my career as my children. When I was in New York, my career was definitely my first kid,
Right.
But, so now I can, reboot for that. Yeah, that's exciting.
100%. And one benefit that a lot of people that we haven't really kind of highlighted so much in past episodes about the benefit of being in such a skeletal team of like one or two people is that flexibility of being able to take your career where you need to, right? If you were to say have a team of like 5, 7 people have a business, or even 10 people have a business in a certain location, you're kind of anchored down at that point there. It's going to be a lot harder to pick up and move or do something completely different unless you fully, kind of exit that. But like you just said, like, who knows? You have this one project that will take you to Germany. You might make a connection there that makes it viable for you to stay there. And yeah, like the possibilities are really open at that point. It's just a matter of how you hustle and where you hustle, right?
Yeah, you have to think of yourself as a media professional, not as a business owner. You're one of many. Even, when you bring in other people, you're still one of many. Even if you're the boss, quote unquote, you're just one of other crew. And all of your crew have to be top notch. They all have to be doing their job at the right time. It's production protocol. So if you're doing a high-end convention, you've got a certain crew protocol. Or if you're doing interviews at a university, you still have the same kind of production protocol. And you're part of that. And you have to realize that that's your job. Your production protocol cog in whatever work you're doing. So and you want to build yourself up for what you want to do in the industry, not your little business, because business changes. It goes from gig to gig. You want to make as much as you can on the gigs, but so you want to produce, because the more you produce, the more you make money, because every element you produce, you should get a cut or a fee or something. So the more you produce, the more money you make. Or you can just get paid more for higher levels. So if you get paid as a director or a DP or a writer, you'll get extra money that way. So you have to think about your identity and remember that even if you have a small business, you beyond your small business, you're a media professional, and you need to be able to walk onto any set anywhere doing anything and be part of the team. So you need to run your team the same way that you would act on somebody else's set, and you've got to be that way. And like I said before, the whole thing is like Mission Impossible. Don't. Every time I open up the email and I get that one note, "Hello, Edward. We've seen your website. We like your work. We have a job coming in on whatever date." The music starts going in my head.
That's a good way to think about
You
it.
gotta basically be Tom Cruise in your life.
Well,
You gotta be 60 years old and still jump out of planes. And
exactly. I was just thinking, like, in that team, who's what role? Simon Pegg is maybe like the producer, like on the computer in the background, and then
Who's
Tom
Ving
Cruise is
Rhames?
like he's the DP, getting right in there with the trenches, getting the shot. And
Oh, it's
who's Ving Rhames?
I don't know. Director.
First of all, if you're dealing with an agency, it's the agency producer you got to look at for number one, because they're the one paying the bills.
Yeah.
They're the
Yeah.
one hiring everybody. Then you've got the director who has their own idea about what's going on, and then you've got the director.
That eye roll.
I love that eye roll, because we all, whenever we say that, when they have their own idea, we all have like that one memory of a director that just had his own idea. That's all we're gonna say.
Yeah. And then you've got the director of photography who has their own ego.
Yeah.
That's right, Carol.
And then you've got some of the technicians you really, really need. Like, you need a production designer to bring in some of the crap they need to have there. You need to have a location manager that can actually get you into a place without dying or losing some of your crew too. Yeah. There's certain technicians you need to have. You need to make sure your gaffer can turn on a light, and not drop it on, a PA. Things like that. So when you're building your crew, that's kind of what it's like. You've got to be able to know who's above the line. Above the line really means people you can't pick on. That's
Can't give him too much of a hard time, basically, right? That's good. I like that.
Yeah, you got to listen to them and like make their dreams come true.
It's like the royalty. You can't make fun of the royalty, but the peasants, you can push them around.
Yeah, you got to push everybody else around to make it work for the guys up there. That's why the number one person you need to stay in good graces with is the general producer of the project, the EP.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are approving the budget, and you're going over the numbers with them. This is what we have for each department. That's what you got, But then, you got department heads that you got to pick. It's not just the producer behind a computer typing in numbers. That's like the low end. It's more like who's on your trucks. Do you have somebody that can actually do media management? Do you have somebody that knows how to load a truck? Can they carry wires? Are they going to cause all those issues? You got to work out. When you're choosing your crew.
Yeah.
Cool.
No.
Okay. On that note,
100%.
we need to end it because we have a hard out in
All
2
right.
minutes. But
That's cool.
yeah, good episode. Hey, what do we need to search up for that Louisiana movie scandal stuff? What's like?
Look up Malcolm Peddle jail and look up Malcolm Peddle death.
Oh my god!
Oh my God.
I'm looking it up right after our call after this.
Yeah. After our next call, yeah. No, honestly, Edward, thank you for jumping on the show, and thank you for sharing such an interesting insight into your
history.
industry there and history. Yeah, exactly. Like, you really gave a good backstory to everything as well.
Dude,
which,
I'm telling you, you want to get into movies? That's a movie idea right there.
that's a movie right there. Write up a script for that and just go for it.
Yeah, except I don't want to wind up in the swamp with ham attached to my dead body.
Well,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
the trick to that is you get those people to fund the movie, and then they get their kickback.
Yeah, watch the offer about how they made The Godfather, and that was literally one aspect where they had to like meet with Joe Colombo to make sure that it's like, okay, don't worry, this is the script. We're not gonna make fun of Italians, okay? It's like, get rid of the word mafia from the script, it's all good.
Yeah,
But then it was the Russian.
Right? Yeah.
It was the Russian mafia, so he just has to go to the Italian
Yeah.
mafia, and then it'll be all good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Italians will protect you, but
I don't know. No, you don't want to mess with Russian.
all right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks
Edward.
again, Ed.
Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, catch you later.
All right, hold on to. Thanks for listening to this episode of Creatives Grab Coffee. Please make sure to follow and engage with us on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, and your favorite podcast app.
Creatives Grab Coffee is created by Labs Productions, a video production company based in Toronto, Canada.
Creatives Grab Coffee is also sponsored by.
My name is Miran. Welcome to Canada Film Equipment. We are a boutique rental house based in Toronto. We are here to help you guys out with all production sizes. Feel free to contact us to get a quote if you are a production house and you're looking for lighting, camera packages, or lighting and grid fan packages. You can see our contact information in the link below. We are more than happy to help you guys out. Make sure you follow and subscribe to creativesgrabcoffee.com. Thank you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Matt. Welcome to Audio Process. We are a boutique audio company doing location sound, sound design, post-sound, ADR, Foley. We service equipment. We do all your audio needs here in Toronto. We got you covered. Come on down, audioprocess.ca. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and all of the other internet things to creativesgrabcoffee.com. They'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for you, and we're all going to have a real good time.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.